Man, what is up and what's happening, Auburn fans? Welcome in to the Auburn Primetime Live, episode 73. Man, we're getting on up there, y'all. And I wanted to start out this episode by giving thanks and praise to each and every one of you. The numbers have just went off the charts the past couple weeks. We're like 20 subs away from 1,000 subs, which is crazy. I didn't think we would get there so quickly like we have, but I just wanted to give thanks to each and every one of you for real. It means a lot. Bringing in the new year of 2026. I know the Auburn Tigers are going through it right now. I know there's some ups, there's some downs. There's some guys that are transferring to other schools or taking visits that were key players the previous 2 years. And, I'll have a little something to say on that. But I want to give shout outs to the guys that have chosen to stay with the Auburn Tigers. And I feel like there's a difference between the 2024 guys and the 2025 guys. And so I do want to give a lot of praise to guys like Jared Smith, who just chose to come back. I think he's a freak of nature. I think he's got a lot of promise. And I think he saw an opportunity this year. He got on the field pretty early, and I think he really had a great game against South Alabama. And you saw the potential, right? And there was a couple of other games in there throughout the year that he made some big time plays, and you saw what he could be. And so, with what we're losing there, I think Jared saw. I think he looked and said, "Hey, I have every opportunity here at Auburn to play and further my career, and hey, make a lot of money, right?" I think you see other guys like New Boy Fagans and you see like Eric Winters, two guys that played in all 12 games. They're coming back. A guy like Bryce Dees, he come on strong this year. Showed a lot of potential right there at linebacker, and you know I thought he had a pretty dang good year. And you're seeing a lot of these cats, the young guys, they were bought in to DJ Durkin. They were bought into one goal, one mission. And I think you're seeing the difference between those guys and the previous guys and that 2024 class. And, not all of the guys are chasing money. And I get that. Some guys, they might have been pushed out or whatever. That's fine. But a lot of these guys were given the opportunity to come back. And they chose to go elsewhere. They chose to go elsewhere. But I think what I'm most excited about is the nucleus, the core of this defense is coming back. Does it hurt to lose a K.N. Lee? Does it hurt to lose a Jay Crawford? Yes, it hurts tremendously. But I can tell you this, those cats up front that are coming back, those cats on that linebacking room that are coming back, you got to be excited, especially in Xavier Atkins coming back to be a leader, a voice for that defense, a guy that's going to call the shots 110% next season. I think you have to be stoked about the ones who are returning, because there's a lot of positivity right now. And it kind of feels like Auburn might have set it up this way where it was bad, bad, bad. And we were like, man, where's the good at? And then all of a sudden you see a Jordan Crawford pop off. You start seeing these young cats. They start popping, run it back. I thought the Fagans and the Winters duo together, releasing that on Auburn's social media page. That's awesome, man. That's positivity right there on that defense. We know the offense is going to be completely different. All right. We know that. We know that. I don't think we're really worried about that. I think we have a vision with Golish, and we're going to let him execute that vision and that plan. And we trust him 100%. I think you got to trust him. And you've seen everything that from the start, is starting to play out, right? We all knew that Byron Brown was gonna try to come to Auburn from USF, and so far everything has went as planned. And now we need a commitment from Byron Brown, and no, he is not officially committed yet. Mr. Beautiful, he is not committed yet officially. Don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but you hope to get that commitment, right? You hope to trust Alex Golish. You got a commitment earlier today from his backup and a guy that is also following Alex Golish, a kid that his dad is a prominent quarterback coach, and he's coached some good ones out there and sent them throughout the draft process and all that good stuff. A little fiery on Twitter too. I like it. I saw one of his tweets today, and I said, hey, that fires me up a little bit, you know. Don't talk about me, all right? Don't talk about me. If you're going to talk about me, tag me, all right? I like that. I fired up about that kid. So, you know, that's the first one right there. That's the first one. So if you can get Byram, and then you can get some of these receivers, you can get some of these tight ends that are coming in for visits. I know the kid from Florida State has a lot of steam on him. The USF Brett, the USF wide receivers, there's a lot of steam trending on them to Auburn. And I don't think a lot of these, like a lot of people are like, oh man, it's just going to be a complete USF rebuild. I don't think that's the case, man. I think Alex Golish has pinpointed some guys that could play at the P4 level. And then the other ones, he's like, hey, man, you know, the best of luck to you. I'm just not sure if you're ready to play in the Southeastern Conference just yet. Because a big point that I love to make is stop acting like he doesn't know the talent level that needs to happen in the Southeastern Conference. He coached at Tennessee, all right? He was an offensive coordinator there. He knows that you have to score points in this league. He knows how to evaluate the talent to get those cats on the field to produce. So he's not going to just go grab 30 USF guys and bring them in and say, yeah, I'm bringing all of my kids from the G5 and we're just going to load up at Auburn. I don't think it's going to work like that. I really don't. I don't think it's just going to be a complete USF rebuild. You know, I've heard this mentioned multiple times too, is nobody followed Harsin, but people are following Golish. I think that's big time. So another thing, I can't remember who tweeted it, but if you watch this show, please take credit for it down in the comments because I really liked it. They said, have you noticed the guys who are transferring out and the way they act on social media compared to the guys who aren't transferring out? All right. And the way they act on social media. Completely different. Two completely different sides. I was in Fagan's live the other night on TikTok. They said, man, what happened about Cam? He said, oh, well. Best of luck to him. Oh, well. And they were like, what? That's all you got to say? And he was like, oh, well. If he don't want to play at Auburn, he don't want to play at Auburn. That's it. That's all he had to say, right? He didn't have to, you know, he don't go on there and oh man, you know, if you ain't sliding then you're dying and all that. Look, it might have been a saying that they said, but you knew it was going to be controversial when you posted it, and you've been talking crap, and these guys have been taking shots like Malik Blockton saying finally when Deuce got in the portal and all that. Man, you ain't got to do all that. You ain't got to do all that. And I know somebody's going to get in the comments and say, well, they're kids. They're kids. You ain't got to do all that, man. You can be a stand-up, A1 day one type of guy. Wish them well and move on. But I'm proud of the cats that are staying here at Auburn. If you want to be at Auburn, be there. If you don't be here. get to stepping. That's the way I look at it. I've had people in the comment section reply and say, well, that's not a great way to look at it. You're never going to win like that. We've laid out some people who have won. We've laid out some cats that have taken, less talent, and they've produced college football playoff teams. You can win like that. You got to have the right culture. You got to have the right culture. And so I wanted to give a big shout out to those cats that are staying. And we've got some visits taking place through the portal. Who's your daddy? Love it, Brett. Love it. Let's pull it up. Then we'll get over to the comments, man. Who's your daddy, man? How about them Indiana Hoosiers? We got to give some praise real quick, and then we'll get to talking back on Auburn. But the Indiana Hoosiers beat the Alabama Crimson Tide 38-3. I mean, them boys flew 2,000 miles to kick a field goal. All right. They were down 24-0 and kicked a field goal to cut the lead from 3 scores to 3 scores. All right. I thought it was hilarious. There'll be an Alabama fan getting the comments. I'm like, well, we beat you for 6 straight years. Yeah. Well, you lost. All right. You ain't won a real natty since 2017. So there you go. But like I was saying, I give props to them cats that are staying. And I think this defense is going to be just fine. You're probably going to get some cats out of the portal and in the defensive back room. I like, the hires that Golish made on that side of the ball. I think we're going to be okay. I think we're going to be just fine. So no need to panic. Now, if we don't start getting some commitments that we were supposed to get, then I would kind of be like, all right, well, now maybe that one was in the boat. I mean, Pete Nakos was coming out and saying, hey, this guy's a lock. This guy's a lock. I think if those miss, then you could say, okay, well, maybe it's time that we need to panic. But the offensive side of the ball, we knew that was going to be a complete rebuild, and we wanted all of the roster retention really back on the defensive side of the ball. I know Cam Coleman, all that stuff. Look, I got some things to say about that. You can say it wasn't about money. You can say it was about wanting to win. I didn't think it was about money until I saw the visit list. When I saw the visit list, I said immediately it's about money. Okay. When you have Texas A&M, Texas Tech, USC, and Alabama on your schools to visit, I immediately said it's strictly about money. It's about money. And there ain't no other way to slice it. Now, if you want to go. That's great. Get out. I think Golish will be okay, and I think he might not replace him. Okay, might not replace him, but he'll get somebody in there, and we'll get to rolling, and he'll put up numbers. All right, he's going to put up numbers with his offense. He's going to spread that offense out. He's going to throw the ball. He's going to run it, and he's going to play to what the defense gives him. And so, no need to sweat it. Losing a talent like Cam Coleman is it hurts, but he chose that route. And like I put on Twitter, him and Jay Crawford, they got haters out of me for life. Transferring in conference, I told somebody the other day on Twitter, they were like, well, Cam's going to Texas, and we don't play him, but he's still trying to elevate another SEC program above Auburn. I'm sorry, I'm out on that. I'm out. All right. We do play. We play Ole Miss next year, correct? I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And Jay Crawford is going there. So I just don't get it nowadays. The transferring to in your conference and all that stuff is crazy, but it is what it is. We've gotten guys from in conference, and I just think it's kind of weird, but the whole sport is weird right now. But that's just me. I'm sorry. I don't get down with it. If you've transferred to USC, that'd be a different story for me. I'd be like, okay, he's, going out west, Lincoln Riley. I get it, whatever. But in conference, man, that's a rough one. That's a rough one for me to get on board with. And I doubt I ever will. So Miss Connie, it's okay. We appreciate you for being in here, regardless. If you're late, we just appreciate you showing up. War damn eagle. But you know, I people ask me, they're like, "Well, you don't hate on the South Florida kids that are coming in," and I'm like, "Okay, well, one, Byron Brown gave his everything to South Florida. Okay, um, he's looking for a chance to step up in competition. He wasn't a starter at Mississippi State and transferred to Auburn to also be the starter. You get what I'm saying? That's the difference for me. Is, well, you're getting this guy and you're getting this guy. All right, well, I can't knock him if he's a backup and he's trying to go to a place to get some playing time and start and elevate his draft stock and all that stuff. Byron Brown and these cats coming from USF, like the Singleton kid, the Koger kid at receiver, they're trying to get off of the G5 level and get to the P4 level. They're trying to get all eyes on them, where at South Florida, they might only have eyes on them 3 to 4 times a year, where they're on big time national TV. They're trying to get to Auburn, where they're on SEC Network or ESPN or ABC every week. They're trying to get the eyes moving. I'm okay with that, man. You're trying to elevate yourself, not going from school to school to school to school. That's just, and you're a starter. That's just what's weird to me. But like I always say, it is what it is. Move on. We're going to be better off without them. So that is one reason I went live right now, is I wanted to give praise to those young cats that wanted to come back and they want to be special at Auburn and they believe in what's happening at Auburn. So let's get over here and let's get in these comments, man. Like I said, I appreciate each and every one of y'all for the love that you have shown over the past couple weeks. I feel like we went from like 600 subs to we're like 20 away from 1,000 subs, and it happened like overnight. It feels like it's crazy. I really, really appreciate it. Brett Wardam, man, you've been an A1 day one, man. You've been here from the beginning. My guy, Mike, me and Mike have known each other for years, grew up in the same town, same school, all that stuff, man. Have known my guy, Mike, for years. Wardam, brother. William, Wardam, brother, Wardam. Uh, the crowds are getting bigger and I love it. So the lives are getting bigger, and I always like going live a lot so I can interact with y'all and hear your side of how you feel about Auburn, and whether it's good or whether it's bad. So Miss Karen Wardam, Auburn dad Wardam, my guy, glad you were in here like always. You are another A1 day one, man. Just always been here. All right, let's get in here. And Brett says, excited for the guys returning, especially Blake's favorite number 14, Hudson Cock. I was really, really on his case this year. If you have watched from in season to now, I was not a fan of the punting game at all. I wasn't a big fan of Hudson. I thought we needed to move elsewhere if we possibly could. I just, I don't. I'm not big on the rugby style, and I think you got to have a guy back there that can flip the field. And Hudson, he wasn't flipping the field for us. That's why I felt like we should go elsewhere. There was a couple of blunders he had throughout the season, and it's got to be better. For dang sure, it's got to be better in 2026. So I know Brett was thinking that was my favorite from the jump. So War Eagle fam, excited for all the returning players. Can't wait for some portal announcements. Yeah, I think that's why we're kind of all like sitting on the edge of our seats right now, because we want the portal announcements to start popping, and I think they will. I think this one's going to be a little different for kids. This window, where like there used to be 2 portal windows, so kids used to make like quick decisions, right? Like bang, 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 like they would jump in and immediately commit. I think you're going to see a little more time taken with these because you can only make one decision. They could go to one school and then after spring, I mean, it was all jacked up. So now I think you're going to see a little bit more time, a little bit more visits taken, um, and maybe a little more prayer and discussion with family and things like that before you see a lot of names just start flying off the board. When we start winning, we can look back at all these guys that are staying and say, this is because of y'all. Exactly, man. And I posted this on Twitter a while ago. And I'll tell you a little bit. Some might have actually got to watch the interview when I posted it when I was over up on the up tempo. I went to the Senior Bowl 2 years. I went there 2 years ago when Simp was at the Senior Bowl. And I went to the little dinner for the media, and you get to go in this room and interview them. And you only have a certain amount of time. And he gave me like 9 minutes of his time. And I got to a point of the interview, and I was just like, man, I got to ask you this. Like, why did you never transfer from Auburn? And he looked at me and he said, man, that's just, to be honest, he said, one, that's not how I was raised. And he said, two, I fell in love with Auburn University the minute I took my first visit. And he told me about the visit and everything, and who hosted him and all that stuff. And he was like, I knew right then that I wanted to spend my years at Auburn. And I said, yeah, but when Auburn was losing, man, like, why didn't you go chase a championship? He said, well, I wanted Auburn to chase championships. He said, I wanted to do everything in my soul to have Auburn win championships. He said, that didn't happen, unfortunately. But he said, I always looked at it like you don't get to team hop every single year in the NFL. He was like, he was like, like I said, I was raised like that, and you don't get to just have it your way 24/7. You don't get to go from team to team to team to team and collect more money, more money, more money, more money. And I was like, man, I respect that. Like, I respect it because Jalen was that safety, a guy that moved from corner to safety, and he become one of the best safeties in America. And he could have went to a Georgia, an Ole Miss, an LSU, and he could competed for an SEC title, a playoff berth, a national championship. Like, he could have done those things, and he never wavered. So I got a lot of respect for him. That's why I posted that on Twitter a while ago. I was like, uh, dude never left, and I respect guys like that. When you're going through the struggle at a program and you do stay. And people always ask me like, well, you know, you can't be wishy washy on it, and I'm like, look, man, I think there's different ways to look at the transfer portal, right? Because people are like, oh, well, you support Bo, and like, look, man, no offense to people if you sell insurance for State Farm, but that's where Bo Nix was headed if he would have stayed at Auburn. His name was getting trashed on draft boards, and that he was a terrible quarterback and yada yada yada. He had to make an adjustment. He didn't agree with the coaching staff. There was a new coach come in, all that stuff. They didn't even want him there for real. Whatever. He transferred all the way across the country, and we got guys that have been 2-year starters, and they were going to be 3-year starters. One was going to be a 4th-year starter, and they just deuces, dog. Like, I'm out of here. That's the disconnect for me. But it is what it is. So I think like another hot topic that's been going around Twitter. Celebrate the ones that are staying. Let the ones that are leaving go. Let the ones that are leaving go, man. Did Bama beat Indiana? That's a good one. That's a good one. Also, look at some of JMU guys that followed Signetti to Indiana. I think it worked out for them. Man, that dude's nails. The way he looked over at DeBoer across the sideline when Alabama went for it on fourth and one, 4th and 2. He was like, "You're really going for this?" He was like, "Bet." Florida just lost to Missouri, by the way. Wow. We'll talk about basketball another day, man. Just uninspired basketball play this year for real. Not impressed at the. Mm, I don't want to go off on another rant. War Damn Eagle, let's go spend 40 or 50 million. Yeah, there's going to be some cake stacked up. I always thought Cam Coleman looked ruggish. Uh, at times, yeah, at times. There was times where you could see the superstar potential. If you can go to war at 18, I don't want to hear anything about being a kid. That's yeah, yeah. Life's gonna smack you. Life's gonna smack you, brother. And I had a talk. I had to go to work this morning. I had a conversation with my owner. He walked up and he was like, "Man, I appreciate you giving up your New Year's holiday and coming in here." And we got on football talk, and he's a huge Alabama fan. And what's crazy is one of his sons is a veterinarian who graduated from Auburn uh, here in um, here in Mobile, I think. Is it a veterinarian? No. I'm sorry. I misspoke. He is a pharmacist. He's a pharmacist, and he graduated from Auburn. And he's here in Mobile, and then his other son basically helps him run the company I'm at. But they're really good people, man. So I was telling you that because they're a divided family, right? So like him and his youngest son are like huge Alabama fans. His oldest son is a huge diehard Auburn fan, and so we have those conversations. And he was like, this morning, he was like, "Dude, what happened to Alabama?" I was just like, I was like, to be honest with you, I was like, I think they from the first snap, the physicality was total opposites. I said one team punched the other team in the mouth, and that team never punched back, and it was from the get go, right? And so um, he started talking about. He was like, "Yeah, that usually happens when you start paying kids millions of dollars and all that stuff." And I was like, "Yeah, man, like we got to figure out a way to stop it." And we just went on and on, and he was like, you know, he started talking about contracts and things like that, and like trying to you can only transfer like one time and all this stuff, and you should only be able to make so much money here before you go to the NFL and all that stuff. So it was just, and I seen one of our coaches. He said you chase the opportunity in college for the chance to get to the pros, and I think that's a big talking point that needs to be had. A lot of good and talented players are out there, but it's going to be a better football environment. I keep trying to say this to a lot of people that when you lose the way we were losing, because there's a lot of people out there. I had a guy today on Facebook. He said, "Well, it wasn't the players," and I'm like, "Look, man, we know we had great players, but they were infected. They were being given handouts. They were uh, they were accumulated to this guy that was giving them everything and not wanting accountability. He wasn't wanting them to be on time for meetings and be on time for practice and things like that. Like they were just getting to do whatever the hell they wanted to do. And you have to go another route. You got to. And some people they don't want to see that happen. And um you got to have buy-in. You got to have cats buy in. If they tell you they're not bought in, that's why people are like, man, I hope Cam comes back. I'm like, I don't. I don't want to beg somebody to. I don't want to beg somebody and have to pay them that type of money. Offensive line is where we better start getting it going. That's facts, Roberts. Like that's Robert. You have to take all of this money and throw it at offensive line because of one of what you've lost, and then I know there was murmurs about DeAndre Carter coming back. He's going on a visit to Iowa State. Like you've lost a lot. You've taken a hit, but you got to go get dogs. Like you got to go get cats. I really would like us to get a couple cats out of that Big Ten. They produce offensive linemen. Indiana, man, that was a grade A showing the other night from Indiana. Their offensive line, and what's crazy about it is they're a bunch of 3 stars. They're a bunch of 3 stars. It's about money. Who pays the most? We need some good robots that can place men at 30 million. Yeah, majority of it is. Yeah, for sure. Signetti brought half JMU team with him there. Yep, that's a fact. That's a fact. Any word on Alvin Henderson? Is he staying? I feel like with Darrell Robinson entering the portal, I feel like Alvin might stay. I feel like that's a good sign because I feel like it was either going to be Omar, Darrell, or Alvin. I could be wrong. He still might enter. But I think with Darrell entering the transfer portal, I think that's a better route for Alvin for Alvin to stay. Excuse me. And I kind of hate it for Darrell and what happened. And this is a guy I'm not going to be mad at for transferring because, like, you had a freak accident and you never really recovered from it, and it just didn't work out. So, man, I wish you the best. I hope you a full recovery. It never happens again for you, and go have the best career possible, man. Like, I really do feel for the guy. I just, it's just a freak accident. That's part of football, and it happened. It is wild how salty USF fans are. LOL. Just saw a tweet where one of them was trying to say our facilities are embarrassing for an SEC school. How dumb do you have to be to post that? They're just trolling. They're doing it for clicks. They're probably getting a little change off of it. And the more you click on it, Devin, the more money they make. So, yeah, Mr. Beautiful. So Indiana got past Bama. Absolutely, brother. It's always good when Alabama loses, but right now they got the upper hand on us in hoops. So, I agree, Auburn Dad. I agree. Devin, I saw one said he hopes BB throws for 4,500 yards and rushes for 1,500 yards, and AU goes 0-12. LMAO. Yeah, I wanted to comment on that one and be like, hey, yeah, if that happens, like we're probably not going 0-12. Like if those things were to play out, it's probably the opposite. 10-2, 11-1, 12-0. Like he would be benched way before those numbers got put up. Oh, my wife says wartime. You're a fool. You're a fool. Kelsey needs to be banned. No shot. Hey, let me tell y'all something. So this is crazy, right? My father-in-law, big Alabama fan, trying to sway Levi to be an Alabama fan. They put him in an Alabama jersey on New Year's. They were like, "Oh yeah, Alabama's playing, Auburn's not." Blake, what do you think about it? And I was like, "Sure, put him in it. Put him in it." It was 24-0, and I walked over there and I was like, "You sure you want to be in that?" Like, you sure you want to be in that jersey, brother? Like, you don't be a loser your whole life. And so yeah, they got waxed, and Levi immediately took the Alabama jersey off. So just win, and it'll take care of itself for sure, man. Got to finish out them close games. You can't keep being close, right? Yeah, man, I do need more sleep. That's the problem with I get up and go to work at 3 o'clock in the morning. and I don't get off until like 7 o'clock at night. And I've been doing that for about 6, 7 days a week throughout the holidays. So yeah, I do need a lot more sleep. Um, I wish we paid Ashton enough to stay. Uh, I don't think Ashton. I don't think Ashton. Like I think he wanted to be at Auburn. I think Ashton. I think he had a meeting with Golish and the staff, and they told him about Brown, and that was their plan. And I think Ashton said, "Hey, I don't know if I want to be on board with that plan." And so I think that's where it comes from. Like I don't think he wanted to leave Auburn. I think he just kind of said, "Hey, probably my best interest for my final year is to not be here." Right. And, like Sam Turner, I think he wanted to be at Auburn. I don't think it was in Golish's plans for him to be at Auburn. And that happens. I take example Mbakwe for Alabama. He said the other day, he said, "Yeah, I want to stay at Alabama. I'm here." I think transfer portal opened. I think the coaching staff said, "Hey, look, man, we're paying you this. I don't think it's really going to work out. You might want to look to enter the portal and go elsewhere." Things like that happen. They're evals at the end of the year. That's how it goes, man. It's just part of sports, and that's the way it goes. So, what happened with Tahad? What happened with Tahad? Apparently, he's not doing some things that he needs to do off the court, and he's acting out off the court, and it's leading to. You're right, though. He's running himself out of draft stock. But Stephen Pearl called him out today. Stephen Pearl said, "And can't keep doing it because you can't keep putting me in these situations." Um, Alvin Henderson has no choice but to stay. The running back room is solid. I think he could. I mean, I think he could enter the portal and leave if he wanted to. He could probably go down a division and then jump back up. Oh yeah, the Pittman Jr. tight end from FSU and Eccles from USF would be great. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I think Golish with him being a tight ends guy, man, and I think that's going to be one that's a position that we've been really, really not great at here recently. And one thing that kind of shocked me was what was his name? His name's slipping me now. Um, who was the cat that transferred to A&M, the tight end? I can't believe Ducker, Michael Riley Ducker. I can't believe he transferred because I thought it was his time in that room to be great. And when he transferred, it really shocked me. But what we had last year, and then Preston Howard choosing, I know that was like a celebration, right? I know that was felt across Auburn Twitterverse that he was transferring. Everybody loved it, right? I just feel like it was one of those things where he got an evaluation and they were like, "Hey, we want you to do this." And he was like, "Well, I feel like I should do this." And they were like, "Well, we don't really see it that way. Like, we're going to bring some other guys in here to do that." And I feel like he said, "Okay, well, I'm going to go to the portal and try to maximize the rest of my eligibility." And that was it. With what's still in the running back room, I think you're going to have to pick one. I don't know if you get both. I think you're going to have to pick one. We'll see, though. We'll see. War Eagle, War Eagle. Glad you're in here. Yeah, I banned him for the Goodman talk. Let's get it right, brother. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I banned him for the Goodman stuff. So sorry to hear your father-in-law is a loser. Yeah, 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 yeah. He's not one of those that's like, he lets it bother his day-to-day life. But I don't think we can lose Cobb. That's a guy that, I mean, I've been saying it for the past 2 years that I thought he was electric. I felt like he could be one of the next great backs in Auburn history. And some disagreed, some agreed. And this year, he just really showed how great he was. It really started with that run against Oklahoma, man. Like that's where he popped, and he never really looked back. That's the day he took it and ran with the job. So the trenches are our biggest need for sure on both sides of the ball. That's where games are won. That's where games are won. Jackson Arnold to UNLV. Best of luck to him. Yeah, I hope he goes and has a sensational career. And I hate that it didn't work out at Auburn. I wish him well. I hope he does tremendous things in life. And I just feel like it happened with few frees and it didn't work out. And that's the way it goes sometimes. So wish him the best. Uh, Cobb is the guy in 26 for sure, for sure. Yeah, good for him, man. Good for him. Excited for him. Really am. I'm excited to see what Omar will do. I think he showed some future brightness. I think he showed some future brightness this year. He's going to get some more run next year. Um, I think I think Auburn's going to be fine in the running back room. Whoever they bring in, they're going to be fine. You made a great hire there. Like they're in good hands. I'm not worried about the Auburn running back room like I was at the beginning of this year. So, do I agree with Mike G suggesting we should have let Cam name his price? I think that's irresponsible. No, I don't know. I've said that multiple times on here. When you start getting now, if Cam would have said, "Hey, I'm going to stay here 2 more years," then I would have been like, "Okay, do it." But for him to only be here for 1 year, y'all were wanting me to pay him $4 million in one position where we have a serious issue. We have a serious issue on offensive line, and really from what we lost on the defensive line as well, where we got to go get a couple cats. You want me to say to give the guy a blank check and let him name his price? Not for 12 games, man. I'm sorry. Just not happening for me. But it is what it is. I know Mike G does a great job. I was with Mike G for a while over there at the War Report. Would never say bad things about those guys. I think they do a great job. Um, we can disagree, right? Like I know he's a big Cam guy. I think the world of Cam when he was at Auburn. I thought he was one of the best receivers that we've ever had, but unfortunately, it didn't work out, and he's going to transfer in conference, which I do not agree with, and so that's where I stand right there. Hopefully, a big day tomorrow. Yeah, I think some people thought it was going to be a big day today, but like I said earlier, I think you're going to see a little bit more patience with a lot of people right now because there's only one window and they gotta get this decision right. And that's why you're seeing the visits taking place and guys trying to fit them in and they're going to spend a day here, a day here, a day here. It's still all over the place. Yeah, he just doesn't go to Bammer. If he even took a visit to Alabama, transferring to a rival is insanity to me. But it is what it is. Darvin Adams was way better than Cam Coleman in an Auburn uniform. I think potential wise, though, is more. I think I saw that too on Twitter. As people were like, potential of Cam Coleman and making that type of money. Yeah, but he's going to be an all time great. He is, and he's going to do big time things in the NFL. I think. I think Cam is one hell of a receiver, but unfortunately, it didn't work out at Auburn. So, guys naming that price only. The entitlement and poor culture of the team. Yeah. So Darvin didn't drop passes. Yeah. Um, okay. So you're exactly right with like him going in there and Golish just saying like, yeah, I'm gonna give you this, but then other guys are gonna come in and they're gonna be like, hey man, he's getting that. That was the whole point of starting over and getting that crap out of the system at Auburn is like you can't just fall to one player. You can't just give in to one guy and be like, yeah, man, like oh, it was all about roster retention though. Can't happen. It can't. You're right. Darvin didn't drop passes, and Cam did. And I've mentioned that multiple times. I said it the other night. Did it not look like sometimes this year that Cam was disengaged on offense? He just kind of was going with the motion. What did Mike exactly say? He said that Cam can't be found in the portal, um, and he's worth a few million. But regardless, no receiver is worth 4 million for 1 year. There you go. Whatever it was, I'm right there with that. I don't think you're worth that for 1 year. And you know, like you said, with him and the toxicity of if you gave him that money, then other guys would be coming in and saying, "Well, you didn't give me that, and I need that," and it's just that was the whole thing about blowing it up, and hopefully we're past that. So no, 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 no. Yeah, I'm gonna go in Monday and say, "Hey, look, I'm not doing my job unless you give me 20K right now. Like I ain't doing it. I ain't even punching the clock. I'm gonna just go back home, but I need that 20K, and hopefully Gola should tell you to get to stepping. So look, y'all, I appreciate y'all. Make sure you give some love to the guys that are staying. New Boy, Jared Smith, Winters, all those cats, man. All those young cats, Jordan Crawford, all of them, highlight them, Bryce Dees, all of them, man. And leaders like Xavier Atkins coming back, highlight them all, man. Go on there and show them much love that that they want to be at Auburn and they want to try to turn this thing around. So I love y'all. Appreciate y'all, man. Like I said, the growth of the channel is just insane to me how y'all have supported and we have grown so much. Melendez, yeah. Melendez too. Gonna be an absolute star. I think that's one of the bigger returnees. Just an absolute killer dog. I mean, he's a dude. He's one of them ones, is like we always like to say. But I appreciate y'all. And I might hop back on here tomorrow, just depending on what goes down. But I will keep in touch with y'all and let y'all know in the game day group chat. Go check out the merch in the bottom of the link under the video. And I appreciate y'all. Like I said, War Damn Eagle. I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out.